All right, so the moment that you voted Adrian out of the house, that was the moment as a viewer I thought you lost the game. What do you
Mm.
think happened to get you out of the house this past week?
This past week, well, the biggest thing is my perception in the house compared to public perception. And so I first off had no idea that Vince threw me under the bus for that vote. And obviously that's one of the first things that I come to find out once I leave the house. And so that's when I really did feel that the house with Riley, Catherine, Keanu, and Kelly, they really did kind of turn on me, which is very interesting. It was interesting at the time because I knew that Keanu was still very close with Vince. And so I was a little bit skeptical that something had happened or at least didn't add up to me. So I knew that once I got to this past week that I did have some enemies in terms of that. I still thought that I had majority of the house, however. So that's kind of I like now that I see it after the fact and like see what people are saying and what actually happened. It's interesting to see is all I'll say about it. So
So you're talking about public perception in the house. You're a very charismatic guy, likable guy. Do you think that you were too trusting in the house? Do you think that you got along with everyone too well to believe that they could be scheming behind your back?
I mean, it's it's tough, right? Because I felt like my game when I won the ended up winning the first challenge, I felt like it kind of put my trajectory of my game on a different path than what I envisioned. And I felt like I had to like take a step back and really try and get to know everybody and try and be more charismatic, somebody that can be really there for everybody. It's just to kind of take that target off my back a little bit. However, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because once you do end up on the block, everyone was telling me when Catherine was like closing the box that I was 100% fine. And then, perception changes when you're in the house and, I have my bags packed. And so I think people realized that I was probably not going to be on the block again, especially for the next few weeks. And they found it, as a massive opportunity to get me out of the game. And so in that, retrospect, it is, I should have had better awareness in that moment. But really, it came down to like my perception once, Cat closed that box, that I should not have, I didn't think that I had to use the power. Obviously, looking back on it now, I should have, but it is what it is.
So speaking of the vote, you said that you think some of the House guests didn't think that they'd have the opportunity to vote you out for another couple weeks. I want to get your reaction to the votes because I think that there were some people in the House who you earned their vote to stay. Morgan, for example, you risked your entire game to save her. You had a power to get off the block. You told her that you didn't use your power rather to save her, and she still voted you out. That's slimy. How can you forgive that? How can you see her after the game and respect that?
I did see what ended up happening, and she was fighting tooth or nail for me to be in this game. And I understand to a certain extent, going with where the rest of the people in the middle were going. However, yeah, I mean,
It's okay. You can say you're upset with her.
no. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm upset with her. I understand that it is a game move, and
Yeah.
it's best for her to do I mean, I guess what's best for her.
Well, I don't
Um,
think it's playing out for her because I do not think that there are people in the House. If she makes it to the final two somehow, I don't think people are going to respect that. And I really hope that the jury questions that. Because right
yeah,
now, if you see how she's doing in the House, I mean, she's making like sloppy moves to stick around. I mean, to lose Mickey, her biggest ally, I mean, I think she's really, I don't know, I think she's struggling. I think that obviously what you did, I don't think anyone would have done that. Vinny wouldn't have done that. Mickey wouldn't have done that. Ashley wouldn't have done that. You were her best ally in that house, and I think she regrets it now.
I mean, we're speculating right now, right? We don't know what's fully going on in her head. I will say this, like, I knew she was a massive middle vote when it came to down to my decision, in keeping me or Vince in the game. And so I felt like it was very necessary at that time. I really did think I had her vote, and I didn't realize it up until like the literal last moment, after Keanu ended up winning the blockbuster. And so for that reason, like I still respect her as a person. I think she is a great person.
Here's something I think is pretty interesting. When people leave the house, they still usually have something nice to say about the people who stabbed them in the back. So I want to know, what have you learned about people from being in the house, so close knit with them? What have you learned about people? I mean, what kind of relationships have you formed with these people that even when there's moments they'll stab you in the back and make sure that you don't get your chance at $750,000, that you can still like them and respect them and have good memories of them?
I mean, ultimately, there are, 16 other people with me in that house that experienced the same exact thing that I experienced. And a lot of people that do watch the lives or watch like the episodes, they don't fully understand how much like we went through in that house in terms of like the mental toll that it takes. But that's why I do respect them as people. They all have great stories. They all, I feel like, are, doing what's best for their game, and I do respect game moves in that aspect, so I can't hold it over their heads for the game moves that some of them make. I just know that there are a lot of people in that house that I really, really do respect, and I really plan on seeing once everyone eventually leaves the house, especially at the after party. And so I really just don't feel like the reason why I respect them so much is because of what we really went through day in and day out. It was a lot more than people expect to see, on TV. Like Rachel and Suri, they both said they're like, Big Brother is the hardest competition show out there because it is like, 90 to 100 days of just nonstop live, and you have to constantly be playing that social game. So that's kind of my thought on it.
Let's talk about Rachel for a second. How do you
Yeah.
think this season was different compared to seasons where there isn't a former winner in the house with a bunch of newbies? How do you think it changed the game for you this season?
Well, I'm surprised that she's still in. Let's be honest. I remember when she came in, she came down, and everyone was saying, we've got to get her out. She's already won. Granted, she then gets have not immunity, and so then that's kind of when things started to shift. And I feel like there were a few people that were afraid to take that shot on her. I know that like if I ever had the opportunity to win HOH, that's probably someone that I was heavily considering putting on the block for that reason. And so I feel like there are a couple of people in the house that were a bit intimidated by her in terms of like taking that shot. But I will give like Rachel her props as well because she is a great social player. And she's somebody that I know this past week she was really trying to build her relationship with me.
I want to talk about Riley and Catherine's relationship for a second because a lot of viewers are feeling uncomfortable by it. Some people online are saying that they're uncomfortable that it's even called a showmance. A lot of viewers are feeling uncomfortable by the way Riley acts toward Catherine. There are reports that her family has reached out to production because his behavior appears narcissistic toward her, obsessive, even gaslighting her, being emotionally abusive. What was it like being in the house with them? How did you view their relationship? Was it cute and fun, or was it as creepy as it is for us as viewers?
Well, I will say this, like with Riley, when he was around us, he was very fun, he was very bubbly. It was like very much so like a comedian, right? And so I never saw like I had no idea that they had even kissed, if I'm being quite honest with you. Once I left the house, I did see that. So I didn't realize that their relationship was to that point. I did realize that last week that they were getting closer, but I didn't know to what extent or what's going on. So obviously the perception that I had in the house, it was definitely a bit more like they didn't show a lot of us what was going on. They were very private in a lot of what they did. And so for that reason, yeah, I was a bit surprised. Let's just say that.
Okay. Well, lastly, as we wrap this up, what's next for you, Zach? Savannah Bananas?
I mean, if I get the opportunity, I would love it. I know that I will be taking my mom to Wimbledon as well. That's one of the things that
Okay.
I've consistently said, and I love her to death. And so yeah, it's very much like open for me. But I'm very blessed for the opportunity. I thank God for every opportunity that I get, and yeah, we honestly will just see what happens.
Well, it was a pleasure watching you on the show. I think you represented yourself very well from start to finish. So thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin.